Lance is our crazy crew.
We're braver and stranger than we think.
Caring and just showing love to other people.
And energetic.
We went on a mission trip to Mexico, and
we were dating at the time. And it was there that we decided that if we were ever to marry, that we would actually have a couple children of our own and then adopt. About 2009, we had started kind of having that stirring in the fact that we wanted to adopt, but there was concern brought up that, you know, did we really think about bringing the process of bringing an adopted child into our home, especially a child who was black into a white home. So we kind of backed off on our thought process on adoption. So I started the process of the adoption and started making phone calls of what to do next. So I kept coming into roadblock after roadblock. So eventually I had come across an email that a friend had sent me that was forwarded to me about 2 boys who were from Haiti who needed a home. I ended up finding out that one of the boys was already in process with adoption and had already found a home, but that the other child still needed one. But we weren't going to do anything without having all of us on board.
First time they mentioned it, we were in our car heading back from one of our friends' house.
I was half expecting it, half not expecting it.
It was really scary at first, just hearing them talk, because it's one of those things that didn't seem like it was going to come true, you know?
And we all said yes.
At that point, we decided if we were ever thinking about adopting, we would just hop on a plane and go to Haiti.
so we did.
So we did.
Yeah.
We grabbed our luggage and, you know, held on tight, and we walked out of the airport, and eventually we came across somebody who was yelling our names, and that was Rachel, the director of the orphanage. But she introduced us to Richard.
When I used to cuddle up with my mom and dad.
And
we had been in country for about 2.5 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Richard's mom had shown up a day early.
That's how I remember. She was in an orange shirt.
And probably about 15-20 minutes into the interview with her, or that time with her, the director of the orphanage had come up to us and said, it's time for you to go now. I have a car waiting for you and for Richard's mom.
Yeah.
And make sure you have your passports with you. You're going to go before the judge now, and she's going to sign over her parental rights to you to become Richard's parents. But what you have to really remember is that we were just there to
check it out.
Kind of check out
Yeah.
the whole adoption thing and meet this child that maybe we would want to adopt. But you know, at that point, we were not sure that we wanted to adopt.
As we're driving up the mountain, you can imagine, like, we're 3/4 petrified. And so that was that time in that place where Annette and I just kind of put our heads together, just started praying out loud. You know, it was clear that God was bringing all of this together in very short order, as he continued to. A few minutes goes by, and then, you know, this guy walks in.
And they are asking for our passports and to turn them over. And it was very nerve-wracking. But after we had signed the paperwork, we were able to then spend a week with Richard in Haiti, just kind of continuing to get to know him and to love him. The unfortunate thing is that, you know, after a week passed, we had to go back home because we had 3 kids in the States, and we were just starting the long journey of adoption. And at the time, he was almost 3 years old, but he very much could not understand what had just happened.
Usually the adoption process lasts about 3 to 4 years, but we got it done in 2 or 3 years, so that was cool.
Around kind of midway through the process, I needed to travel back to Haiti to be interviewed by the Dean of the Republic of Haiti. One of her first questions to me was, you have 3 biological children. Why do you think you need to adopt a child from Haiti? And I remember just looking at her and saying, I don't need to adopt a child from Haiti. but I very much feel as though God has called our family to adopt a child from Haiti.
God has been so gracious and kind to us, so why shouldn't we share that with other people?
So after about 18 months, we get a call that it's actually getting close to the end of the adoption process. And it was December at this time, and we were wanting to try to bring him home by Christmas. And we boarded a plane and went to Haiti. It got to be after 3 or 4 days that we actually had thought that maybe the passport was ready. And we hadn't changed our flight itinerary. We still had us flying out later that afternoon. But in order for us to make it down an hour down the mountain to the U.S. Embassy to get the passport and to the airport, we only had a short amount of time. After we picked up the envelope at the U.S. Embassy, we got back in the car, realizing that the airport was just a short distance away, that we were actually going to be able to make our flight.
Everything was going perfectly. We were on schedule, and then traffic essentially came to like a screeching halt.
Being about a mile away from the airport and knowing that we just had a short distance to go, Rachel, the director of the orphanage, had spoken to one of the gentlemen on the side of the road and asked
Random guy.
him in Creole, which we didn't know their conversation, essentially for him to escort us to the airport.
I was in the car just like staring at them, like didn't know what to do.
And so at that point I took Richard into my arms, Gardner grabbed our luggage, and we ran the rest of the way to the airport with this gentleman kind of pushing people off of us the whole way. And literally we stepped into the airport to essentially step right onto the plane.
Yeah.
And the wheels came off the ground. There was just this immediate kind of just sigh of relief. And we flew into Dubuque the morning of December 23rd. When we stepped off the airplane, we actually had a large group of friends that greeted us, as well as photographers and newspapers and everything else, because what we were told is that they had kind of figured that Richard was one of the first children that was kind of legitimately through the process after the earthquake, who was adopted.
He was pretty small and cute.
He was so scared. You just look at him and I mean there are cameras flashing, and I would be scared if I were him too.
He was very quiet. He kind of kept to himself for a little while.
I got like really excited, and we had a lot of fun with him.
Richard doesn't keep to himself.
I want to play a game.
He's the opposite of quiet.
Yes!
Crazy, livable, and silly.
Hi, camera.
Better or worse, he's a part of the family. He is family.
Having a large sibling makes me happy.
He is a great blessing.